appropriation for career ladder will be the last appropriation made in arrears. Did the General Assembly ever state that as its intent?
To my knowledge, no, but I could be wrong with that.
And how are you stating it as the intent?
Well, the purpose is that given and if you're reading part of the letter, if you read the entire letter of intent, it clearly states that this is something that we, the General Assembly, need to take under consideration, again, as to balancing the budget.
But why not include other things in that discussion? Your letter to Jesse specifically says career ladder and doesn't mention any other program.
Right, you're correct. And as I said before, Career Ladder is the only program in state government that I'm aware of that we fund in arrears.
And the reason is because under Governor Ashcroft, that was paid a month late after the budget, and ever since those days, that program has been paid in arrears. Am I not correct?
As I understand, I don't have the history, but to characterize this as we're picking on public education, we're picking on kids, that's simply not right. That is incorrect.
But you could understand why teachers who've already committed to career ladder work this year think that your letter is a pay cut, can't you?
Oh, no, I do understand it. Part of the challenge, as I said at the outset, the budget process is challenging and difficult just on its face, and then you get into something which is really unusual, like funding in arrears. That becomes even more difficult to understand.
And let me put a finale to this. I mean, we can debate this all week. This, as Chairman Icet says, this program will be graded like every other program, and it'll go through the budget process, and then we'll handle it with the majority, and we'll do education. We've done all the time. That they're a priority with us, and they remain a priority. So let's move on to something.
Are there any other programs you're considering looking at then?
Every general revenue program will be considered, given that, I mean, this part is not rocket science. A balanced budget is a balanced budget. Whenever we have a general revenue shortfall, there are two options. One, you either cut the budget, for the most part, two options. You either cut the budget, or you go to the people of this state and you ask for a tax increase. There is no way to print money in the basement. There's no way to do anything other than that. So those are the two options that we face. I'm fairly certain that the majority of members standing behind me, if not all of them, will go for the first option versus go to the people of the state and ask for a tax increase when they're suffering and carrying a burden as well. That is nonsensical. Let me make one more point, because I'm fairly certain, I have the sneaking suspicion in this previous press conference, no one identified the amount of new money that this General Assembly has put into K through 12. Did that happen? No. Anyone who would take a guess? New money put into K through 12 with a new foundation formula. If you want to include categoricals, over $700 million new money. I'm talking above and beyond the old formula. If you want to exclude categoricals, over $400 million new dollars put into education in this through the fourth year of the phase-in. So to say that we don't like public education is ridiculous.
That's not what they said, though.
What did they say?
They just said that career ladder would result in cuts to teachers.
To teachers, how so?
It's a cut to the teachers' salaries.
It potentially can be. I'm not saying it's not.
Well, we're going to go through the budget process on that, and that's not the case. Other questions?
A question for Mr. Tilley. In the previous news conference, it was announced that Mr. Talboy also has been elected by his caucus to be